And we're back with part two. Thank you for joining me on my endless summer of videos of Beach Boys discussions. This is part two of covers that the Beach Boys played over the years, live or in the studio. Before I begin, just want to say I'm going to try to keep an eye on the time. Last time it went over like 20 minutes. It took forever to load to YouTube. I think 7 hours, literally. I'm going to try to keep this short at 10 minutes. I think that's short. That's short for me, so I'll try to talk fast. Beach Boy news. I know a lot of people are out there are like, hey, the Sirius Radio has the Beach Boys channel now, just like the Beatles and Elvis channels. I don't have Sirius myself, but I've heard from other people what they've been playing. Been playing some good stuff. From what I read online, Leaving This Town, Forever, Here She Comes, Our Car Club, Custom Machine, You're So Beautiful, Saturday Night from No Peer Pressure. So I'm really pumped about that. Perhaps I can listen for free on my phone. I don't know. It's not like I don't have all this anyway, but just fun to listen to it in a different way. So I was going to move on. We were talking about last party album, and I believe before I was interrupted by being done, I was talking about there's a video of the Brian and Danny Hutton singing Dream from a Everly Brothers convention. Look that up. It's on YouTube. It's not the greatest performance, but I love hearing Brian try to harmonize. It just sounds good. And in the video, they warm up with the shortened bread riff, which is kind of cool to hear. So, elsewhere on Party, I was talking about Barbara Ann earlier. I wanted to mention my favorite version, since there's so many live versions and blah, 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 and they played it so many times. My favorite version would have to be the one that released recently on the Sunshine Tomorrow studio outtakes, where they are recording Barbara Ann for the Late in Hawaii rehearsal, and it just sounds awesome. I don't know what it is, but they, as some said on Facebook, it just sounds like something from the Love You album, and I just totally enjoy it. That's got to be my favorite version of that. One of the other favorites on here was There's No Other Like My Baby. Did not know that song from the beginning. Just knew it from this album. And then when I got the Back to Mono Phil Spector box set, it was on there. And of course, they're going to cover a Spector song on a covers album of Brian's. So, again, great vocals. Love the harmonies. It's a really enjoyable song. Devoted to You kind of beats it out, but if Devoted to You wasn't on there, it would probably be that as far as the best vocals on that album. My favorite, I should say. The Good Vibrations box set released Ruby Baby outtake from this, and it's a really fun one. They start doing the oink oink thing when Brian can't remember the lyrics. I didn't know that song either, but it's a fun listen. And furthermore, Brian did do another version of Ruby Baby in the mid to late 70s for around the Adult Child new album era. It's alright. It's kind of how you would expect it. It sounds like a 15 Big Ones outtake, basically. But he must have really loved that song. Next up on my list, you might think it would be Pet Sounds' Sloop John B, but since I know of a little, I think I've shared this before, but Brian was really into This Could Be the Night, and that, as it's a Spector song with Harry Nilsson. And early on, when he got his first reel-to-reel recorder at home, whatever you want to call that, I'm not hip into those things because I wasn't alive then, and I don't know a lot about music in that way. When he got that, he played it over and over again. Recorded This Could Be the Night on piano, and feel like he didn't have a tape ready to record on, so he used a tape that had Little Girl I Once Knew. which was recorded around that time. So that's kind of interesting. Talking about different covers, I was talking about the Honeys earlier, and thanks to whomever was telling me, an old folks home is the Suwannee River, Surfing Down the Suwannee River tune. This Brian Wilson Productions is a bonus album record in the Capitol albums. Capitol box set. It's a really great box set. I did a video. I think it's my first video I ever did. If you want to watch that, this is the bonus disc from that, and it's really good. So the Honeys are on here. And I'm not going to go into too much detail as far as that goes because I've already covered this, I believe, on my earlier video. But as far as covers, we have Surfing Down the Suwannee River, Summertime, Sharon Marie. I think that's about it. Now, the latter two on side 2 has Tonight You Belong to Me and Give My Good Night My Love, which is the last single from the Honeys in the late 60s. I'm not sure if Brian produced those or not. They're great arrangements. I love it. The horns are so cool on it. I didn't really know Tonight You Belong to Me, but apparently it's big on the movie The Jerk with Steve Martin. Didn't know Good Night My Love either, but it's a great track. I thoroughly enjoy it. Moving on, you got Sloop John B. And really, that was another song, The Wreck of the John B. I didn't know that song before this. I always heard Sloop John B by the Beach Boys. Never knew of it as another song. And it's a great production. Some people like to debate, does it fit in on Pet Sounds? Should it have just stayed as a sequel? I'm not here for that. But it's a great production, and the vocals are awesome. So that's what we got to look at for the covers. And then we move on to Smile, which, some people may not think of as having covers on it. And this is my bootleg of it. And on there, they did I Want to Be Around, which I never knew that song. Just, I guess, an old standard. Old Master Painter from the Faraway Hills. I downloaded that on Napster. The real version by Dick Haymes, I think. Nothing that great. I mean, obviously Brian liked it. You Were My Sunshine, which is that old standard everyone knows. And G, which I didn't realize Jan and Dina covered. And that's, How I Love My Girl. That's on Heroes and Villains. And the I Want to Be Around, very interesting how, as early on being a Beach Boys fan, we just had the instrumental cut of that on bootlegs. But when Brian released it, they sang on it. And him and Taylor Mills covered those. I don't know if she sang on the album version, but she did live. And that would move on. Actually, I got Wild Honey, but Smiley Smile has just a little tidbit of a cover song. It's not really a cover song, it's a bit, and I just love just pointing out these things. So, She's Going Bald has a bit of Get a Job. The that middle part, it's kind of a reference to the song Get a Job. Some might not think so, but I thought it was pretty cool. Moving on, got Wild Honey, but we also have some songs that was performed at Late in Hawaii. I already mentioned the With a Little Help from My Friends. Now there was The Letter that was played as well. Interesting, they opened a concert with that, and it was a big song at that time. It was released on the Rarities album early on in the early 80s. It's interesting to hear. And then The Game of Love was also recorded around this time. And it's really cool to hear Mike and Brian trade off vocals on that. And I love the organ stuff. I'm sure I've gushed all over this, but I love the Late in Hawaii stuff with the organ. And it sounds really cool. So I'm all about that. Now, another tidbit, little trivia thing, and people know this, but when Surfing was performed on Leyden, Hawaii, there was that little bit that da 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 da, and we all know that's from Do It Again. Obviously, Do It Again was from a few years before or after, but that riff was taken from the Frogmen, which is a Candix artist, the original label that the Beach Boys were on, and it was a riff from a song called Underwater. It's on YouTube, you should look it up. Again, just a small little riff I like to point out that was put in there, and it's kind of maybe not noticed by some, but it's cool to listen to. So lastly, on this video, I Was Made to Love Her. Great song, great cover. It's not a carbon copy of Stevie Wonder's. It's a little more basic, but I totally enjoyed. Carl obviously loved it. Did a great job on the vocal. The extended mix that was on the Rarities and now on Sunshine Tomorrow, it was really cool. Kind of the vocal dropout, kind of the doo-wop thing, the wee, wee. It's really cool. I love the sound of that. So for right now, I'm going to end on Wild Honey. I'm already at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So we'll move on with the rest of the 60s after this.